Get down to your skimmies. Nobody cares, right?
Yeah, no.
Nobody cares.
Exactly. Get
It's
down
a weekend.
to your
This
skimmies.
is man
There's no
only
excuses.
weekend. Man only weekend.
Man only.
And if you hide your privates in the locker room, in the men's locker room, there's something wrong with you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. It's a wonderful weekend. Меня видно?
Да.
In the snow or in the pond. Woo! Run!
That was a splash. There's a polar plunge right there.
Yes!
No, roll in the snow. Nah. No? No? No?
No,
No.
that's enough.
Sponsored by Midland. Communication for every adventure. The industry leader in radio communication technology and innovation for over 50 years. Sponsored by MyMedic. Sponsored by Tembo Tusk. Sponsored by Trail Rated Coffee Company. Sponsored by CK Knife and Tool.
Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
Hi, I'm Phil from Waypoint Overland, and you're listening to Random Waypoints. All right, so here we go. Welcome to another episode of the Random Waypoints podcast. We'll be doing an episode every week. So like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss an episode. This week we have a special guest. We're in Salem, Oregon with NIKSON Overland's Bud Nixon. Welcome to the show, Bud.
Thank you, Phil. Good to be here, or good to be on the show. Finally, we are here. Добрый день всем. Приветствую всех слушающих. Мы на шоу Waypoint Overland и Phil его ведущий. Добро пожаловать.
All right, so all of you that do not know who Bud is, I know him from the YouTube channel. He has an excellent YouTube channel where he repairs snowcats, but what really enticed me to his YouTube story was he gets in his vehicles, he goes out in the forest in the beautiful snow, and he takes these beautiful videos of him camping and taking trails in the snow. So there'll be a link right here for you to check him out. But let's start right into it. Tell us where you were born and raised.
I was born and raised, I guess, former Soviet Union now, but it'll be a southwestern part of Russia. If anybody following Olympic Games, the most recent, not most recent, but one of the more recent Olympic Games were in Sochi, Russia. So we lived not too far from there, from that region. So in the area is called Kuban. Kuban is basically the Willamette Valley of Russia. I mean, literally, because we are, for those who like geography, you'll find that Salem, Oregon is located on 45th parallel, and my hometown in Russia is pretty much there as well. So that's kind of the story, I guess. So green onions, and the soup is ready to go. Все, супчик готов. Я думаю, это будет кайф. Это будет просто кайф. Все. Всем салют. Ездите с нами.
You started the video by speaking in English and Russian. So could you explain to our audience why you did that?
What we're doing is basically kind of like same format that my channel is. My channel is bilingual. I believe that I do my best to stick both languages equally, where saying something in English, I'll say same exact thing in Russian, minus few words obviously here or there, but anybody who understands both languages, they will follow the story fairly easy. And the reason is for Russian is that my channel originally started for my Russian friends abroad who wanted to see my adventures. And at one point I got tired of carrying around the hard drive with me to have to show them the video. So I said, hey, I'll upload it to YouTube and you guys can watch it. So that's kind of the story about that.
So, did you grow up off-roading and camping, overlanding, any of this stuff?
Wow. So yeah, the story goes far, I guess you could say. When we were little, we went camping with the family a lot. I did live in a fairly mountainous region in Russia, and we did not own a 4x4 vehicle, so we learned the hard way how to get places with just a rear-wheel drive car. For those who might follow the Soviet production vehicles, it was the Zhiguli 01 or the Kopeyka. Kopeyka means basically a penny or a cent in Russian. It was the first production Lada or Zhiguli vehicle, like the model style, whatever. And we would go, based on the seasons of the year, we would go, in the mountains camping, mushroom picking, berry picking. I mean, there are stories where things, got crazy at times. So, yeah.
So, currently, do you have any relationships with people in Russia that are overlanders as well?
My story in States here, technically, like the whole jeeping and whole blogging world, I guess, if you want to start it that way, started with the Russian site called drive2.ru or drive2.ru, whatever, however somebody wants to pronounce it. And I think they actually had a team come to LA and make it where it's translatable, where it's both Russian and English now. But that's where I started my first blog, and that's how I started about a dozen years ago when I first bought my first 4x4 here in States, which was a 1986 Jeep Cherokee. And I learned everything from that Cherokee as far as what 4x4s can do, and being the fact that I was part of a photo club when I was a teenager in Soviet times in Russia. I did photography there, but that was black and white color on the film. And now we are living in a digital world. So a dozen years ago, that was my first experience where I ended up buying one of the Canon cameras that I liked, and then found the 4x4 taking me to the beautiful places, and then that just went on and grew bigger into a YouTube channel that was really never meant to be a YouTube channel for so many people to see. It was just merely sharing with friends. So I think I'm kind of going all over the board here.
Oh, no. Tell us everything. Also, I'd like you to tell our audience what you do, because we're going to be discussing some of that as part of this interview.
Right now, I guess my general direction of what I do, I'm self-employed. I started building overland trailers or off-road trailers for a living. That's kind of the plan. We're still in the R&D process, but that's the main direction that I'm taking, trying to spend the most time there. But other than that, I am pretty much a jack of all trades. So I do fabrication with metal. I do all sorts of woodworking. I run a CNC router machine at home here in the shop. I mean, I have plasma cutter, welders. So basically, anybody that has any kind of small projects, people come in and ask me to help them out. I'll do that, and a lot of times I'll find myself doing a batch of cutting boards or some kind of other product that I can sell to kind of keep things afloat and put the bread on the table, so to speak, I guess. And also along everything, I am a dealer for Trans-American Wholesale Parts, which basically we own four-wheel parts store chain and all the brands that come with it. So I export parts to Russia a little bit and then sell whatever parts I can here, but that's something that I don't really advertise a whole lot of. More or less it's word of mouth, but I think maybe I need to advertise more, because that's definitely might get a little better cash flow going. So, but yeah, I guess that's what I'm open to.
So tell us about the Snowcats.
Snowcats, ooh. That's maybe a whole lot of new episodes. But
well, before you tell us what you do with Snowcat, some of my audience might not know what a Snowcat is. Could you tell them what a Snowcat is?
Snowcat, it's a tracked vehicle that helps you travel over pretty much any depth of snow. I mean, to put it in simple words. And Snowcats are not to be confused with snowmobiles, but snowmobiles are recreational vehicles, single or two-seater or three-seater sometimes, I mean, you'll find those too, I guess. But snowcats are basically a replacement of muscle hydraulics, if you want to call it that way, if that's the right word. So basically, anything that you do on snowshoes, you can do in a snowcat, but just twice as fast. And we're literally talking twice as fast. Right. Cats do not go fast. They go 7 to maybe 15 miles an hour top speeds. There are snowcats that will go 55. Piston Bully makes a machine called Flexmobile, and that thing will sprint 55 miles an hour across terrain, no problem. But mostly, generally, if anybody looks around, any brand snowcat that's out there, Tucker, Bombardier, Piston Bully, I mean any groomers machines that you'll find at the resorts, I mean those are slow. They're slow machines, but they will get you there for sure. So
what's your connection to snowcats?
My connection with snowcats is snowmobiling. I mean, to start with, I love the snow. It's not necessarily because I'm Russian. There's a lot of people make the connection. They're like, "Hey, you're Russian, so you must like vodka, snow, and cold and bears." that's a very common one. But no, I always, for me, snow is something that feels like it cleanses you. It's so clean and
I agree.
Powder that I mean, I don't know if I'm a hardcore believer into the fact that there is no such thing as bad weather. There's just bad gear. So one thing to consider if you've been afraid of going into the snow or into the rainy, stormy weather. My favorite time of snowmobiling or any kind of winter recreation is when it's dumping crazy snow and it's a stormy outside. But I try to make sure that I have myself some kind of shelter in place. Obviously, some kind of tent or a cabin where I can get to, where you got a warm stove going. And it can be stormy out there, but I know for a fact that I can get in and get out safely. I mean, that makes me feel comfortable, and that makes me feel good. I mean, that's my high, life high.
So people are probably going to be wondering why we're talking so much about snowcats. You do fabs and restorations, right? Mm-hmm. Could you talk about that?
I started basically with just acquiring a first cat. The story there, long way short, or short story, to make a short story, we were trying to get to a location for ice fishing, just another trip with the guys, and we couldn't even get there with snowmobiles because there's so much snow that dumped. And then in Oregon it layers, and it became the Portland cement or the Cascade cement, some guys call it. I mean, there's just, so the snow got wet, you couldn't get through it, and the snowmobile would fall through that air pocket of the layer. And on my Jeep that I used to have back then, my first LJ, I got maybe 100 yards less than the guys on snowmobiles did. I mean, yeah, ironically, that was the funny part. But we didn't make it, right? So I came home, and my thing was like, okay, well, is there a machine that can get you where you want no matter what? I mean, other than an airplane or helicopter, right? And I'm not much of an air person, so for me, it was just like, let's find something. So research showed that there's such thing as snowcat. And my first cat I bought for $700.
Wow.
The gentleman's name was Bill Guthrie from Weiser, Idaho. He passed a few years back, but I actually own another machine that he started restoring. I never finished because he passed, so there's some history there. But Bill is he was and probably still is one of the biggest brains or knowledge base of snowcat world in the U.S. Real good guy. So my first machine was the EP.02.10 air-cooled motor, Wisconsin 4-cylinder, no cab. Anybody watching my channel, they'll find the videos on what it was and how it became to be. And that machine got us anywhere we wanted to. So,
I love it.
Yep. And then that just, that started a whole snowball effect rolling down a big hill where now I own 3 snowcats, and I think I'll buy another one sometime later.
There's some ski resorts that don't have 3 snowcats.
Well, it is what it is.
So I want to talk about the thing that I love that you do, and that's you hitting the trails and camping in the wintertime. Again, you can see those things on his YouTube channel. And I've also enjoyed when you you go like into Southwest Utah and you take people on trips and stuff.
Yep.
When you take people on those trips, it's called NIKSON Overland, right?
NIKSON Overland experience, if you want to call it that way, yeah.
Okay, talk about that.
Basically, I guide trips as a side hobby, side business, whatever you want to call it. We agree on certain dates. We agree on certain itinerary as far as what's going to take place. There are certain requirements to what vehicle has to be set up, how it's set up. So this way you're not running with a group where, you know, you have a guy totally stuck, I don't know, 4Runner and, you know, guys on 42s per se. Because that way you're not going to, as a group, you're not going to be able to get there where you want to get. I like to cook on a trail, and I have a couple other buddies who are very good cooks. I think I'm a pretty good trail cook. In any case,
yes.
But we just enjoy the travel, the sightseeing, and cooking all sorts of good food. I think for the most part, yeah, it's all guy trips only. So we have no ladies to keep the drama out. And not that I'm saying that ladies will bring drama in, but it just makes it simple because it makes it simpler for the guys to behave as a man in certain manly fashion when women are not around.
I agree.
So, and like I said, I mean, my wife goes on the trips with me from time to time. There are places to go family camping. There are places to go with the spouse or your other loved ones. And there are trips that just to go man only. This way you just kind of behave as men, I guess.
Yeah.
The dirty bears.
One thing I appreciate about the videos that I've seen of some of those trips is the camaraderie. And as you mentioned, the food. Now, let me tell you, everybody, he's not just throwing steaks on the grill. He's not making sandwiches. You guys really, really lay it out.
Yeah.
A lot of lamb.
Yeah.
They cook whole lamb sometimes.
Yeah.
I think you cooked a goat before?
No goats.
No
so
goat?
far.
Okay, I know you cooked a whole lamb.
Yep. Whole lamb, lots of beef, pork. We like, it's called sala in Russian. Basically, it's pig lard or fat from a specifically grown pigs for that reason, technically. And it's just been, salt and peppered, cured, so it's raw. And then you can cook on that, or that goes as good as just a cold appetizer for certain foods. So it's a Slavic kitchen or Slavic cooking, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So, I ask everybody this question, but it's going to be a little more special asking you. If you're on the trail and somebody's going to meet you at camp and you're going to prepare a meal to impress them, what's your meal to impress a person on the trail?
I found my favorite one, as long as they like chicken, and they have been to Olive Garden, they will know chicken scampi.
Okay.
So that's one that it's just one I like to eat myself personally. I think I perfected it fairly well to a trail kind of cooking basics. I don't think it comes out any worse than one at Olive Garden.
Now,
and it is cooked from scratch.
You we've been discussing. You cook a lot of food, a lot of delicious food. What is your primary way of cooking when you're out on the trail?
I use the scuttle.
Okay.
Now I found on smaller size groups, or when I go solo, or just 2-3 guys, or 2-3 people kind of group, I'll use the Tembo tusk. If I go anything larger than probably 3 people, 4 people, or there's any reason I need to think about the fact there's gonna be more than a couple people there, technically I have a scuttle that I made my own. It's like a Discata side 24-inch on a bigger burner, and then as anybody ever took curiosity in Tembo tusk, if they haven't yet, I advise to check it out. And I'm not speaking just because I'm a dealer for Tembo tusk, but it is just a tool that will allow you to cook any meal, literally. I mean, you can cook anything from breakfast to snack to dessert on just that one tool, if you want to call it that way.
I agree.
And, I mean, talk about having a lot less mess in your back of the rig because you don't have to carry so many other things.
I agree.
So.
So what first drew you to the Scottle? Was it the convenience, or was it for the dishes?
My funny story with the Scottle, it was never about overlanding. I found Scottle actually when a few years back when we lived in Sacramento and we were moving back to Oregon from Sacramento. We did I think it was like a 3-week family RV trip, and I mean we had everything packed out. We were in the moving mode. So we were like, hey, while we're in Sacramento, while we're in California, we're gonna drive down to San Diego, do a couple-week vacation, wife and the kids, in the RV, rent a car there, go to the beach, kind of, just enjoy the South Cal for a little bit, and then come back home. So in the RV, I did have a small, like a Weber grill, but I wanted something more like that I can cook, more like a more diverse tool, if you want to call it, or cooking accessory. So I started looking around, and the Scottle came up. I did not. The funny thing is, I found it through a trucking website. I used to run trucks, and I have a CDL kind of thing. So
you do everything.
Yeah. So I found that on the trucker site, some guy that sells like truckers accessory, like 18-wheeler trucks. And he was selling the Tembo Tusk there, saying, it's an amazing something to take on the trips with you when you're trucking. So I'm like, well, if a truck driver can have a space in his truck for that, I mean, an RV just makes sense. And, there's 5 of us in a 30-footer RV. It wasn't too tight, but, I didn't want to carry anything extra than I have to. And at that time, I think during the whole move, my Weber had to go, and I was just like, let's get this thing. So I ordered that from his website. It arrived just in time. And my first time ever cooking, I don't know if I had the video ever put up on YouTube, but my first time ever cooking was in San Diego in one of the RV sites there on a Tembo Tusk, learning Tembo Tusk. And then finding out, apparently, that Tembo Tusk is this big hit with Overland community.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I mean, this is, you talking about 6 years ago, 6 years ago, is already becoming a big hit. I mean, right now it's obviously like, you're not really overlanding if you don't have Tembo Tusk, I think.
I hear that so often.
Yeah. So that was my experience, and then my wife is like, "Hey, can you cook some like our favorite summer dish?" Is we cut up a bunch of veggies, anything that's fresh, and throw some shrimp in there with some olive oil and some spices in there, and you just fry it up like stir fry.
It's so easy to put together something good in it.
Yep. So that was like, here, do that. And then like, hey, can you make an omelet? And she's not want to make a mess in the kitchen. Here, make a mess outside, kind of thing, right? And Tembo Tusk, the Scottle is so easy to clean.
Right.
I mean, just put some water on it, if anything, or wipe it down with a napkin and put the next meal on it. It's that simple. So I mean, after that, I mean, you're talking about Tembo Tusk would be the Scottle will be parked outside our front door or our side yard, whatever. My wife is making something on it because either she don't want the stink in the kitchen because she's frying something, or we're just cooking something that Scottle is perfect for. I mean, I end up going crazy where I got the 24 Scottle, and I have I think my biggest one I have is a 32 disc. 32 inch disc.
Wow!
It's a heavy 80-pound boy, but I did actually chicken scampi for a kids camp one time. I think it was like 50 kids in there. So yeah, the 32-inch disc definitely does the job. So
let's go back to Nick's Overland. I know you got a team. Matter of fact, I follow one of your team members. He's a great photographer.
Alex, probably.
Right.
Yep.
So talk about your team.
It's just someone that I'll just put it like this. It's a group that we found that we can connect fairly easy with, and everybody communicates easy, no drama. One heavy aspect of my trips, or anybody who ever wants to join, because a lot of times you don't know the people. For any extended trip, I never take anyone new. I always try to be somebody that I have to camp a few times before, just know what they're capable of, or where their threshold of their patience is. Mostly, that's what you got to go after. I mean, the rest you can deal with. So you're talking about experience, and then just people who enjoy doing the same thing, because you wanna go after the people like-minded, so they enjoy overlanding, not just camping. They enjoy off-roading, not just driving. They enjoy taking pictures, and they just enjoy life, basically. No drama crowd. And biggest requirement is no drama, no fights, no drunk issues of men trying to figure out whose hormones are bigger.
Right. Right.
If that makes sense, right?
I'm
Because
right
on a
with you.
trail, anything happens, and a lot of times the tensions rise because things are not working the way you want them to be, or somebody's snoring too much at night or whatever, and then somebody might wake up grouchy with a hangover or something. They don't want to deal with something else, and you got to have that crowd that understands each other and helps each other. And in our crowd, we giggle and we make fun of each other all the time, and nobody gets hurt about it.
Yeah, it looks like
So,
you guys get along real well from your videos.
And then the other requirement is having the vehicle that's very similar to everybody else's, I guess. So, you just got to have that. Being in NIKSON Overland group, I guess, rooftop tent is a requirement, fridge is a requirement, and the rig to be set up roughly similarly to others. And then your driving skills, I guess they don't have to be even great or expert, because we'll guide you through. That's what I'm there for.
Right. So the thing that drew me, like I told you, was your videos of you winter camping and on the snow trails. There's a lot of people that camp. There's a lot of people that do the trails, but most people, they cut it when the snow starts. So it's a very small community of people who actually venture out in the snow. What got you started into winter camping?
Wow. I guess just love for the snow. Basically. And then finding out that right in our, in our backyard, so to speak, here in Oregon, where I live in the Willamette Valley, Oregon has multiple climate zones. And if you become fairly aware of the way that weather fronts work, I know one thing is when it's warm in the Willamette Valley, up in the hills, there's nothing to do there. You're talking about low 30s in the valley, and if it's raining, it's dumping snow up there. That's one thing I've learned. And there's a lot of websites that anybody can probably mention, whatever. Like in Oregon, one popular one is the Trip Check. You can check the road cams and hey, it's snowing on the pass, so obviously it's going to be a good snowmobiling. And you just gotta go with the right weather. And a lot of times, one thing I can say about my videos, a lot of guys are basically a lot of feedback is that, well, we went and we couldn't push the snow, or we couldn't get there. It's just simple fact that people are going in the wrong time. Because snow packs differently. They say the north people living up north, they have 200 different names for snow or something like that, right? At least that's what I've heard. Like different, and I guess this wet. We have wet snow, dry snow, cold snow, warm snow.
Right.
Basically, but they have all sorts of snows, and I call the snow that you can pack, the snow that you can break trail on, or the snow you stay at home with.
Right.
I'll put it that way. A lot of times, what's had happened is I would go out on a snow run, push all this hood-high snow, come back, post a video on YouTube, and all these guys are seeing my story or my channel videos, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go out next weekend." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, have fun. The snow ain't gonna be the same."
Somebody watches your videos, they get excited about what you're doing, and they say, "Hey, I want to do that too." What advice would you give to somebody, a first-timer that's thinking about hitting a trail or camping in the snow? If it was just one piece of advice.
First advice, always tell someone who is more capable than you are where you're going, and stick to the plan. That's the best advice I can give.
Well, but you've been through quite a few vehicles since I first became aware of you. What are you traveling in now?
My current rig is 2002 Infiniti QX4, and that
Sweet.
might be ironic because I'm mainly known for jeeping, but
Trader.
I always love the Jeeps. I don't badmouth them ever. But Jeep is something that you have to really. It's a love and hate relationship for me always with Jeeps. One thing I hated about the Wrangler is the fact that when you build into the Overlander, it doesn't stay the Wrangler that it's meant to be, which is, remove the hardtop and enjoy the doors off. Once you build an Overlander, it stays Overlander. So you kind of defeating the purpose of what it was kind of meant to be. But currently, I've sold my JKU that I had, and I'm in the middle of a lot of things of changing over things, whatever. But I always loved the QX4 body style, or the body. So I've ended up looking for one for past probably 5 years, and finally I found one that I like, because I like the silver color only. I do not like painting cars, so I found this one in silver, 2002 with 85,000 miles, which is very rare, in excellent condition, one owner, very reasonably priced. So that one will become my next Overland rig that I'll use for my needs, so to speak. And it's only getting 33s, but it'll be fairly capable with me behind the wheel, I think.
You've had a lot of rigs. You've done a lot of work on these rigs. Looking back, if you could think of one thing, if you could go back in time, what have you learned? What if you could start over? What would you do that you didn't know that you know now? If that makes sense.
Well, one word is lockers before light bars. It's a definite one. My experience was like with the first Jeep I got. It's a 4x4. We go out, we get stuck, and only one tire spinning. And like, what the heck? Right? And that's where you start learning, well, any 4x4 is actually only a one-wheel drive, technically, depending on transfer case, obviously, or you get a two-wheel drive because you get a cross differential work,
right,
whatever. But technically, any vehicle that does not have lockers front and back is not a true 4x4.
I agree.
We're talking about true 4x4.
I agree.
So, and the only true 4x4 really that's out of the box, well, there's two, I guess, but the only one that I preferred myself personally was the Jeep Wrangler, the Rubicon edition, or you get the 80 series Land Cruiser that's double locked, or they call it the triple locked, which in Jeep's case it doesn't matter because transfer case in the Jeep is always locked,
right,
the Rubicon one. But yeah, 80 series is a great vehicle. I never really found to like the body style, so Jeep was always the good one for me, and I just like the Jeep. And in Russia, any 4x4, if you got a 4x4, they call it a Jeep. They just don't call it Jeep because it's a Jeep.
Right.
Like, yeah, I have a Jeep, and they show you they have like a 4x4, I don't know, something else, and they just say, yeah, I got a Jeep. I mean, that's how people refer. So for me, Jeep always, I think it's for a lot of non-American residents, or non-American or non-Jeep owning people, having the Jeep as actual Jeep,
right,
is a big thing.
I agree.
So, yeah, and then anybody who actually properly utilizes their 4x4 will find that the Rubicon is probably the ultimate one to go for afterwards. I mean, in the end, no matter what.
What do you think is your best investment in gear for your rig in about the past 12 months?
In the past 12 months, well, I guess we would have to say it depends if it's overland gear or if it's just off-road gear generally. But for anybody, I would advise would be probably tires, no matter what. I mean, tires, that's where you start. And I mean, obviously, from tires, you'll bounce off to what size lift you go to. But even if you have just a regular stock rig, and you put proper tires on it, you will get quite a bit farther, probably. I mean, well, granted, you know how to drive and you know the deflation concepts and everything, but you can get a lot further with the right tires. So,
regardless of whether it makes sense, regardless of whether it was a good value, do you have a favorite piece of gear that you like, that you always take, whether it's for convenience, whether it's luck, luxury? It doesn't matter how much it costs, whether it makes sense, whether it's logical or not. What's your favorite piece of gear?
I'm gonna make it simple. It's the right size fridge with the right size battery. I'll put it like this. So it's kind of like 2-in-1, if that makes sense. But no matter what, I mean, you gotta get the fridge, because fridge is, everybody's like, dude, just get a cooler for $50. I mean, really. And yes, yeah, you can get away with cooler, but then your open bacon grease comes out into the ice, and you spill a, I don't know, previously opened can of chili or something, or your hot dog Ziploc bag gets ripped, and you got, your ice is no longer good for your drinks. But a properly chosen fridge size, and I'm not even going to talk about pricing, although I'm going to start about it. But I mean, right now, you can get your options for anywhere from mid $200s to $1,500. But anyways, fridge is no longer inaccessible because it's expensive. And battery setup, you don't have to go for anything crazy, deep cycle. You don't have to go for a dual battery setup. A lot of times guys ask me about like how I run my power and everything, like lighting and everything, and because I'll keep my light bars on for a long time while I'm setting up camp, or my other LED. I mean, LED doesn't consume much as it is, but for extended period of time, you run your 50 LED bar for a long time, it'll drain your battery fairly quick, right? But a good 100 amp hour battery, one single one, will do you right. I mean, I've never gone to dual battery setup on my previous Jeep, and I would dry camp for 3 days with my 40 cord Dometic, and for 3 days, after 3 days, you just start it up and go. And nowadays they make them simple battery jump packs. They get small as probably as your palm, or you get a bigger one that starts at big old V8 that has a compressor built into it, even if you need that. I mean, I own probably 4 of them, different ones, but I had the pleasure of Amazon review sent in. But all sorts of those things you can carry, and just you save a lot on weight.
I agree with everything you said. I do have a dual battery system, but it's only because there are times where I'll camp maybe 5 to 8 days, and I really feel like if a person is camping 3 or 4 days or less, you really don't. It's a waste of money.
Yep. And I mean, when you're doing extended camps, you're thinking, do I need a solar? Do I need dual battery setup? Do you need more than a 30 quart fridge? I mean, when we go for our like the NIKSON Overland experience, 2 weeks long, I pack 2 of my fridges. I have a Dometic 35 quart and 11 quart. The 11 quart serves as a freezer, and most guys pack like a 40-50 quart fridges in their bags too. I mean, we pack with food for 2 weeks pretty much, and for 2 weeks we don't shop. So like I pre-plan all the meals, so everybody takes what needs to be taken, or we get together and I give everybody, because I usually do all the shopping, so like all the food gets bought by me, because I plan all the meals out, so I know what's needed, and this way I can kind of take up their space in their fridge, and then they fill it in with drinks.
Tell my audience about the NIKSON Overland experience.
Basically, usually it's once a year, but I think I need to start doing it more than once a year.
You need to.
Yeah. Right now it's been once in the fall time, at least a long extended one. Like we're talking about 10 to 14 days. We hit Utah and Colorado. So Utah, Moab, obviously, there's so much to explore there. And there's Colorado. We're talking about San Juan's. So Ouray, Silverton, and Telluride. Basically, that gives us plenty, because I think anybody that goes to Moab, I mean, gosh, 130, 140 miles away, just like a less than 3 hour drive to Colorado from Moab. I mean, you can't miss that. And if you do your timing right, weather-wise, so you can go Moab pretty much year-round. But to do the Colorado, you have to go probably mid-July, I'm gonna say, to beginning of October. Otherwise, you get snow already in the passes. If you like the golden look of the fall time, which we prefer as well, that's why we go in the fall to Colorado. This year we did the trip and it was just gorgeous, because we got there right in time where everything was yellow, passes were still open, and we did so Poughkeepsie Gulch and Hurricane Pass. and then going down, I think it's Corkscrew area. That was snowed in, but was still passable. I mean,
Okay.
people didn't want to go. We did. I mean, it was still safe to do. It was too wet to do the Poughkeepsie Gulch, the extreme section. We tried it, and it was too wet. I mean, you had to winch it, and we were just like, not worth it. So
I might be catching you off guard here. I saw some work you're doing on trailers outside the shop. Is there anything you want to tell me about that?
So I'm trying to, I guess, come up with a new idea for putting bread on the table, if that makes sense, right? And right now, with the overland off-road market growing kind of wild and crazy, and a lot of people are like, dude, I've had a lot of people like, dude, can you build trailers? Because I looked in this company, and you know, I don't know, maybe it's because of the COVID or what's the deal, but a lot of like 9 month out kind of thing, you know, 20 weeks out, whatever. Now I can't guarantee any timelines, but I'm just one man business right now. I think I can pop out a trailer before it gets painted, probably within a week's time.
Wow.
But my my trailers, I was gonna say they're laser cut, CNC formed. So I sourced that out, and they were engineered. I have a good buddy of mine, Jason, who's an engineer, and he and I we teamed up, and we put it out where the frame is done right, the box is done right, and it's still in the R&D process. So we're gonna basically build I think it's a M416 or M something military style trailer, right? So that's the look that we're going after. Starting it up simple on 31s, whatever, and everything can be custom built. Obviously, if anybody wants a trailer on 37s, it can be done on 37s.
But you go lots of places, various different types of geographical locations. My question for you is, what's your favorite type of terrain for overland travel?
Come to think about it, I think I live in the best terrain already, which is mountains. Mountains, yeah, because you get the high timberline views. If you can get above that, so I think that's something that makes. That's the reason I think that's what draws me to Colorado, and then the Moab area, because I don't know if I like Moab the best because it's very dry, and I'm more for like the green forest, mountains with creeks, snow melt, lakes. Yeah. Mountains will be probably the best.
My audience, after them hearing the places you've gone, the experiences you've had, the NIKSON Overland, your NIKSON Overland experience, I can't believe we didn't really talk too much about your businesses. Like, you make butcher boards. I'll make sure to put all that information in the description of this video. There's a lot of creativity out of this person.
A lot of maybe free time, maybe not. I don't know.
But my question is if there's anything anybody's heard and they're interested in knowing more, how do they find you on social media?
I'm Bud Nixon throughout, I think, most of social media. And one thing I guess I could elaborate on, Bud is a name that stuck with me at one of my first U.S. jobs. We had a shop manager. I worked at a dealership doing the detail work, and this guy called me Bud all the time. I don't know if he didn't like my name or what's the deal. And he didn't call really everybody Bud. It was just specific to me. But then what I heard is from another employee is that he liked Budweiser. So it was something with Budweiser, Bud. I don't know, something, right? So he called me Bud. So I'm NIKSON, and a lot of people that know me personally, like direct, they'll call me NIKSON, and it's not like spelling the same as Nixon, like the president, but it's Nick. My name is spelled as Nik, because it's Nick, short for Nikolai, and then son is son of Nick, because I'm Nick. My dad was I'm Nick Jr. So my dad was Nikolai as well. So my brothers called me Nixon. And that's where the NIKSON part comes through. When I registered YouTube, there was no Bud Nixon available the way I spelled it, so I did it like the President Nixon, so it's BUDNIXON, so Bud Nixon.
Well, Bud, it has been a pleasure. You know, doing these interviews, I have the opportunity to talk to people who I follow, people who I know, people who I admire, people who I want to know more about, and you were definitely on that list. So this has been a pleasure for me to spend this time with you and talk. And I just want to say thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much for visiting and coming over and seeing us here. And it's just been a good time. So, yeah, good.
And with that, I want to just briefly say something to my audience and we'll wrap it up.
Sweet.
Well, guys, you already know what I'm going to say. Stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully I'll see you here or on the trail soon.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.